So cars just lining up on the grid now. So Barry Kemp in the golf colour cars on pole position. The proper pole position this time. We saw him second on the grid, but with the pole man missing. With our MX5 champion, Steve Ficacci, on the front row with him, ahead of Anil Singh and Matt Cook and Sam Watley. So a spicy front of the grid that we have here. And it's the green flag, and Barry Kemp leads them away, but immediately Steve Ficacci is trying to close the gap to him, and he's tucked into that slipstream. And will he have a look up the inside towards Cop's corner? No, he thinks better of it. Sam Watley throws it down the inside and picks up a place there. That was good stuff from him, but it's Anil Singh who still holds third place. Ficacci, meanwhile, looking towards the outside of Barry Kemp as they go towards Maggots and Beckett's, and they're storming clear of the field, Chris.
Yeah, indeed. Further back, it's keeping nice and clean. You've got Harper and Spanners battling on the opening lap here with Hatton a few places behind them.
So we'll see what happens as they get out of Maggots and Beckett's and more crucially down towards the Vale chicane. Meanwhile, Steve Ficacci is making his move for the lead of the race. And he's going to pop up the inside towards Stoke Corner, and he gets it through. Steve Ficacci, the MX5 champion, leads at Silverstone. Further back, we've got Tim Ellis making moves. There's a very rapid car that didn't get a great race 2 result and could steal a march and get himself up onto the podium in this race. Oh, just at the back of the shot there, we've got a car going off at the Vale chicane, and Edward Shelley coming up the order as well. So he's right up there. Sam Harper, we can see as well, who crucially has had a clean first lap and 2 places ahead of David Hatton there, Chris.
There might be one at the end of the chicane. There he goes, because Hatton just takes Spanners, and he's also followed very closely by Danny Henney.
Sam Watley's made his move into second place ahead of Barry Kemp, so I think we're going to see that golf car fall down the order pretty quickly, especially with Tim Ellis right behind him. And Danny Henney, meanwhile, is looking at the back of David Hatton and Sam Harper. Oh, Anil Singh going off at Luffield, and Edward Shelley is slow out of the corner, so I wonder if there was a bit of contact between those two. Meanwhile, Ismail Basso and James Wingfield are side by side through Woodford Corner, and it is that number 13 car that pulls ahead. Henney through on Hatton. We saw him going wide there amidst all the drama, but won't be too much of an issue for him as Henney's now looking at Edward Shelley. That's another very, very rapid car. So there's a good group of drivers here currently making their way through Maggots and Beckett's. But it was Steve Ficacci leading by 1.1 seconds over Sam Watley at the end of lap 1. As Henney now makes his move on Shelley down the hanger straight. He's going to pop himself up the inside into Stowe Corner as Sam Harper is going to try and make his way around the outside of Ismail Basso. So Henney pulls off that mover. Harper does not, unfortunately. He'll have another look into Vale. But he's got Danny Henney right behind him now, so he's got to start thinking about that. But he goes up the inside just about. And Henney follows him through around the outside of Club. Oh, Richard Malden, is that off at Club Corner? Indeed it was. So that's unfortunate for him. He was running quite high up the order. And, of course, one of the admins along with Sam Watley on this championship, who we have to thank a great deal for putting on the action that we are seeing now as David Hatton now gets up the inside of Edward Shelley, but Shelley has still got the line into Priory. But Hatton, he braves it out around the outside. Pretty strong move for a man who's currently in the lead of the championship, but there you go.
It is. He can't afford to hang around though, because Sam Harper is slowly etching away from him because he's got a Danny Henney pressuring him, so they're both kind of pushing each other along. Hatton's got to try and get past Basso, I think, because he's under pressure from Shelley.
Henney about to go around the outside of Cop's Corner and swoops round. And he manages to keep it within the track limits as well. That's how you know you've made a good move. So the gap up the front has come down to less than half a second, with Sam Watley putting the pressure on Steve Ficacci at the moment. Tim Ellis in third. Barry Kemp still holding fourth place, but for how much longer? Because James Wingfield is closing in on him at a rate of knots. 47.3 for Kemp last time round. 45.5 for Wingfield as Hatton now makes his move on Ismail Basso, and Spanners and Richard Malden going side by side just behind them as well. And John Lang about to make a move on Tim Ellis as well. Action wherever you look. So Hatton's made his move on Basso. He's made that stick and is through into 8th place.
Yes, and that's one behind Sam Harper, so he's reeling him back in. There's only a half a second between them. This could get very tasty.
What do you do if you're Hatton now? You've already gained masses of points on him today. Do you risk trying to overtake him?
Yeah, absolutely. Every point counts in this championship. You can see the vast swings that come from it. And don't forget, if you're fighting your rival, if you happen to come together, then you're both going to lose out. So if it's a case of 1 point at the end of the season, you'll be ruining it if you don't go for it.
Lucas de Grassi once thought like that, and he lost the championship because of it. We'll say no more. So James Wingfield currently looking at the back of Barry Kemp for 4th place as they exit Luffield and head around Woodcote, and it looks like he's about to pop himself ahead of the South African racer. Looking towards the inside of Copse Corner, and it looks like it's going to be an easy move for Wingfield. That's 4th place settled for him, and Barry's got to be careful now because here comes Henny. I'll give you an update just behind them. Richard Spanner's ready in 10th place. Looks like he's going to make it 3 top 10 finishes in a row tonight, but he's got John Lang not too far behind him, about 1 second behind, so he's got to be careful. Yella Ooms, Adam Rosales and Richard Molden look like they're having a pretty good scrap.
Sorry to interrupt you, Chris. Hatton is trying to make a move on Harper. He's going down the inside of Stowe and he's making it stick.
Oh, the top 2 in the championship going wheel to wheel through Stowe Corner. Doesn't get much better than that. And I don't think Hatton's quite got it done because Harper's trying to get back up the inside on the way into the Vale chicane, and Hatton's surely got to yield this one. Harper's bumping over the curb and didn't really leave Hatton much space there, but he left him all that Hatton needed to get through.
He's got to go defensive now because Harper's got a run again coming into the chicane. He goes to the outside.
Got to be careful going into Abbey. We've seen some drama down here, and Hatton had a bit of a twitch there, and he lets Harper back through.
Oh, those curbs are treacherous as well, particularly on the inside of the first part of that chicane. So that was brave from Harper to go around the outside, and it's paid off.
Hatton's got to be careful now. He's already had a bit of a twitch there. I think he'll call that a close moment. And is that Ishmael Basso trying to get up the inside of him? Indeed it is, and he's having to go a little bit wide to make sure he doesn't make contact with him. He cannot afford a mistake now, can Hatton. So he's able to hold him off for another time round. We're about to start lap 5 of 9 in this final race. Just up at the front of the field, Steve Ficacci has just edged out a little bit over Sam Watley, but Tim Ellis is closing in on him. I think he's the fastest of these three. 45.7 last time round, 45.9 for Watley, 45.9 for Ficacci as well. So watch Tim Ellis. He might be about to take 2 race 3 wins in a row. We saw him take his maiden victory at the Charlotte Roval in the full reverse grid race. Danny Henney looks like he's about to make another move as well as he's bearing down on James Wingfield into Stowe Corner. And Tim Ellis at Stowe has popped it up the inside of Sam Watley and takes 2nd place, although Watley trying to get back around the outside, but Ellis has just got the momentum on him. And that's 2nd place secured for the number 14 car. Henney trying to get around the outside, and he's on the grass at the Vale chicane.
That was Henney versus Wingfield again.
Oh, Wingfield spun!
Oh, he nearly collected him as he went round, and he's having to reverse off the circuit to get out of the way.
That was so close between them, but crucially our championship contenders have gotten through unscathed. And both of them now are getting quite close to Barry Kemp. So we can see them come through, and Henney has continued. So out of all that, he's actually come off better.
He has, and Harper has got to get this move done on Barry Kemp because it's allowing Hatton just that little bit of a sniff at the back of him, and he's got to get it done this lap or he's going to be under real strain here.
Top 3 just making their way around Woodcote to start lap 6. Tim Ellis now challenging for the lead. Gaps 0.8 of a second as they came over the line. 1.3 seconds covers the top 3. Danny Henney now in 4th place, with Barry Kemp 5th, but for how much longer as the 2 championship leaders are bearing down on him as they exit Copse Corner, and Sam Harper pops towards the outside, towards Maggots and Beckett's. Is he going to make this one stick? Indeed he does, and Hatton follows him through. What a move!
Wow, that was incredible there around the outside, just to pop through there.
Basso tried to follow him through and has gone up on 2 wheels as he made contact with the golf car.
And Hatton is in the slipstream of Harper. This is going to be interesting again down in Stowe. He moves to the outside. Is he going to sweep round?
We saw him try this earlier today, and he's going around the outside at Stowe Corner, and he's made it work this time. Brilliant. And Sam Harper, if he wants to get back at him this time, he's going to have to go to the outside of the chicane, but he hasn't got the run he needs.
I think he went too defensive into Stowe there and just cut himself off, so he had to brake a little bit earlier. That allowed Hatton to sweep round. I think that's move done.
That's this all over 5th and 6th between these two guys, although Harper doesn't look like he's finished yet. Great exit from Abbey though for Harper, and he's already starting to put some distance between those two guys. John Lang meanwhile has gotten ahead of Spanners on this lap, but he's still holding in the top 10 is Spanners. Not sure if you can see what's happened to Carl Power. We've been bigging him up a lot today, but he hasn't featured so far in this race. Meanwhile, lead gap is down to half a second between Focacci and Ellis, and they're coming up on some lap traffic now because there's Edward Shelley.
I can give you an update on Carl Power. He is still going. He started grid 19. He's gone down to P26 at the moment. He's embroiled in a battle along with in Erasmus and Derbitzberger at the back there. I think he must have had a bit of a tumultuous first lap, shall we say.
Yeah, it hasn't quite worked out this one for him, but it's still been a sensational day for him. Up at the front of the field. Meanwhile, that gap between Focacci and Ellis is much less than half a second now, and he's right in the slipstream as they went down the hangar straight and towards Stowe. And you think it's just a matter of when, not if. When is Ellis going to pick his moment and put himself in contention of taking his second victory of the season? Or will Focacci be able to fend him off and we'll get another different winner this season?
Bit of action in the mid-pack. We got Barry Kemp under real pressure from John Lang, and that's allowing Spanners back up in there. We could see some moves going on fairly shortly. Lang, is he going to make a lunge into the chicane? No, he thought better of it. That's all of this is just concentrating the pack up behind him. Spanners thinking he might be able to get involved in this, I reckon.
Up at the front. I thought we were about to see a change for the lead, but Ellis just got a little bit wide on the exit of Brooklands Corner, and that gave Focacci just a little bit of breathing space he needed. He's put some distance on Ellis as they came out of Luffield, and crucially, he hasn't got the run he needs to try and challenge for the lead down into Copse Corner. Still less than half a second between them. 46.0 for Focacci last time around, and Ellis was again quicker, 45.9. He took 3/10 out of him on the lap before. As they go through Maggots and Beckett's, we saw Ellis really close up on Focacci here last time around. I wonder if he can do the same and have a little bit of a run down the hangar straight. It looks like he's had a good run, but so has Focacci. Is the slipstream going to be enough for him? He's definitely closing in. He's just edging ever closer to that number one car. The MX5 champion so far is holding him off, but Ellis looks towards the inside. Focacci has to give him some space, and oh, so close as they went round Stowe Corner, but Focacci has held it for now. We could see another titanic end to a race this evening, but we've got 1.5 laps to see how this unfolds. Is it going to be Ellis for a second time this season, or Focacci for the first? He hasn't had the smoothest run of things since moving to the Formula Renault Challenge. He was a demon in the MX5 Championship, but he's really struggled with this adaptation to the Formula Renaults. But he likes this Silverstone circuit. He was on pole here for the national event. And can he take his first win here at Ellis? Again, looking up the inside as they go into Priory. But he's able to hold it for now. Getting into Brooklands, Focacci's out wide, and Ellis trying to challenge. But again, he still can't find a way through. And all this is allowing Henny to get on the back of them as well. One more lap then. This is the final lap of the evening for the fourth round of the Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge at Silverstone. And Ellis looking towards the inside at Copse Corner. Focacci goes round the outside and holds him off for now. How many more opportunities has he got? They've got to be careful as well because Henny is right in this as well and could pick up the spoils if these two start squabbling too hard. Ellis has got to pick his moment perfectly with only a few corners to go. But Henny is right with them now. Can Henny become the first double winner on the same day in the Formula Renault Challenge if he can pick up these two on this final lap? Down the hanger straight. Ellis right in the slipstream. Ficacci does not go defensive. Is that a critical error? Because here comes Tim Ellis up the inside, but Ficacci again going around the outside. Who's going to come out on top? And Ficacci's out on the curb, but he's holding on. Brilliant defensive driving from Steve Ficacci, Chris.
Yeah, he knew he'd have the inside line for the club chicane, so he just had to hang it out on the outside. Brave move as the marbles start to build up. And it looks like Henny's going to have a bit of a sniff at the back of Ellis now. Henny
could make Steve Ficacci a race winner here if he launches one up the inside of Abbey. If he can just put some distance between Ellis and Ficacci. Or if he can pick them both up. We're into the final sector of the race. What more can Ellis throw at him? Can Henny get up the inside? Or is Ficacci about to do it? Ellis is going around the outside, but Henny's trying to get up in there as well. He's through into second place. Can Ellis hold on into left field? He's got the line, but Henny's going around the outside. Ellis has got the tighter line though, and they're side by side. And all this is brilliant news for Steve Ficacci, who comes around the final corner and takes his first missed apex victory in the Formula Renault Challenge, and Henny second place at the final corner ahead of Tim Ellis. What a finale!
And something crucial in the final lap is that Harper managed to get past Hatton. They were a bit of a gap, so Hatton must have made a mistake into that last lap. So that's Harper finishing 5th, Hatton 6th.
Only 1 point lost, though, and that is far less than what Harper has lost to Hatton today. Absolutely crucial. The championship has been turned on its head tonight, and we have had 3 sensational races. Where do we go from here, Chris?
I don't know if I ever want real racing to resume. This is amazing.
This is too good. Shall we check in with Spanners and Trumpets? Spanners has made it 3 top 10 finishes tonight.
Yes, here we go. So, Spanners, how was that for you? You had a few dices in that race?
Oh, it was absolutely beautiful fun, and you know me, try and keep it steady. But I really had a real go at Barry Kemp at the end. I'm just delighted with 10th, 7th, and 9th overall this evening. And you were asking about Kyle. Kyle unfortunately took Matt Trumpets out on lap 1. But what a great evening of racing.
Speaking of which, here you are, Matt Trumpets. So you got taken out by your friend Carl Power.
It's a funny thing. He apologized straight away, and it's going to happen when you're that tight through Maggots and Beckett's.
I hear you're also suffering with your brake pedals, Matt. Did you get that sorted for the race, or was that still troubling you today?
I was able to get them settled for the race so that they were consistent. I feel good, especially about the second race where I finished 8th.
Well, thank you very much, fellas. We've had a wonderful evening here, Chris. How would you summarize today?
Brilliant, bizarre, on edge, unpredictable. We have been treated so much. And if you are not already subscribed to Mr. Apex Motorsport, then make sure you go ahead and do so, because you are missing out, my friend. And if you're not subscribed to Mr. Apex Podcast on YouTube, then go ahead and do that as well, because we're still putting out weekly content, even though there's no racing on. So if you still want your Formula One news and arguments and debates and opinions, then head over to Mr. Apex Podcast.